Welcome to Campus, the magazine of university sports. In this edition, we travel to the Netherlands to meet a specialist in speed skating. We go to Trentino to talk about the volunteers who'll give their services to the cause of the forthcoming Universiade. In part 2, we'll talk about ski jumping with the Universiade and world champion Daniela Irashko. And in part 3, the curious story of the Northern Marianas beach volleyball team. Coming up on Campus. For many people in the Netherlands, long track speed skating is the sport of choice. This is the city of Heerenveen, which has the most important ice track in the country. But it's not only the Dutch who train here. We've been talking to the Italian team preparing for their winter season. Among them, David Bossa, a 21-year-old student at the University of Padova and a specialist in the 500 meters.
In Italy, it's difficult to do this sport because we don't have covered tracks which would allow us to skate all year round on the ice.
They're only opened for the second part of the season. That's why we have to come here to Holland at the beginning of the season. Because you have the track here, you can use it all year round. So here we are in Heerenveen to train for the winter season of 2013-2014, during which you have the Universiade of Trentino at Baselga di Pine and the Olympic Games in Sochi. David is a science student at the University of Padova. He lives in Novaledo, near Baselga di Pine, where the ice events will take place at the Trentino University Games, and where David usually trains. The university allows me to study at home during the day, so then I can train normally. We do 2 training sessions a day. We skate in the morning, and then in the afternoon we do bicycle training or some weightlifting or athletics. During the pre-season, I try to skate as much as I can to rediscover the techniques, the self-confidence on the skates, the feelings. So that then, in November, I can start the World Cup with the best feeling and I can immediately give it my best. Stefano Donagrandi won Olympic team gold in Turin, and now he's in charge of the new generation.
In total, in Italy, we have something like 100 skaters for long track, and we try to select the best and try to do the best as we can to have some results to put anyway Italy on top of the world. In October we're gonna select the teams who participate at the World Cups, where it's possible to qualify for the Olympics. We look at the trainings, but we also look at the results of the races, and then we select the smaller group who goes to the World Cups, and there they can qualify for the Olympics, and hopefully as much as we can.
David discovered speed skating at the age of 7. He started with short track before choosing the long distance, which suits him much better. You can be the best in the world, but if you don't have a good technical basis, you can't give it your best. With a lot of sacrifice and lots of effort in training, if you give it your maximum, you can get results at the top level. Back in 2006 in Turin, Italy got its best results ever in speed skating with 2 gold medals. And in the team pursuit, they were sensational. It was on that day that David decided that the Olympics would become his personal goal.
It's a person that when he decides to do something, he does it 100%, and he decided to continue to study and do the university, and is busy with studying and training. So it's not simple, but he can do it because he's focused, and it's not impossible to do that.
Last winter, for the first time, David took part in the World University Championships at Zakopane and faced some of the best skaters in the world. His teammate, Matteo Anesi, also experienced life as a top-level athlete and student by winning the gold medal at the Olympics in 2006, followed by the Universiade 1 year later. To combine studies and high-level sport is a bit of an innovation, really, because people know that to study and to practice high-level sport is very hard. But it is possible, so it's a great message to send out. Taking part in the Universiade is a unique experience because you meet with not only athletes, but academic athletes, so you can share a lot of good things with one another. Speed skating is a sport where tiny details are important, and David still has a lot of steps to take to achieve his dream of Olympic gold. One big step will be the Trentino Universiade in December. My goal at the Universiade of Trentino is obviously to take part, but also to win it. It'll be like being at home for me. All the people I know will come to support me. And of course, it would be a great honor to win there.
Sarebbe un grande onore vincerle.
Trentino Universiade will start on December the 11th. Competitions will be held in 6 different locations, including Trento, Val di Fiemme, and Val di Fassa. Antonella Berluti is a former double Olympic champion in cycling. She also took part in the Vancouver Olympics with the Italian bobsleigh team. Now, she's in charge of the organization of the volunteers for the Trentino University Games.
Apart
from the Olympic Games, the Universiade is the greatest sporting event you could possibly hope to host. And having received so much from the sport, I'm particularly proud that sport can be a common cause for the Trentino area to come together for. There's a great tradition of hosting sporting events here in Trentino, but the various localities have never had an occasion like this to work together as a proper entity. The role of Antonella is to organize and coordinate a team of more than 1,500 volunteers. She knows that without these volunteers, events like the Olympics and the Universiade simply wouldn't be possible. I like this responsibility, first of all, because I'm a former athlete, so I like challenges, and this is a big one and a very positive experience. But more specifically, because it gives me the opportunity to talk about volunteering, which in the sport of today seems a bit like, how can I put it, old-fashioned. But in reality, 90% of the people working in today's sport, including the athletes and all the people that work in the organization, are volunteers. When the Trentino 2013 organizing committee launched a campaign to recruit volunteers, more than 1,800 people responded from all over Italy, with the bulk of them, naturally, from Trentino.
The
Universiade is linked with the university, so our goal is to try to involve as many students as possible so that they can have this experience, which is just as important as professional training. In the Olympics, you see so many people apply to be volunteers because it's, if you like, a flagship for one's curriculum or as a personal experience. So we're glad that many local students can be part of this experience, so they're able to use that experience in the future.
Del territorio che poi portino avanti questa eredità nel futuro.
The next important date for Trentino 2013 will be November the 6th, when Pope Francis will light the Winter Universiade's torch. From the Vatican City, the torch will be taken on an international tour until the opening ceremony. After the break, a FISU heroine, Daniela Irashko, ski jumping world champion and former Universiade title holder.
Times you hurt me, treated me wrong. Something had to give to stop this thing going on.
You touch, it tells. T-Touch 2 Diamonds. Tactile technology. Tissot.
Ski jumping is her passion. So she chose to live in Innsbruck, to be close to the famous jump at Isel. In fact, she can see the hill from her flat. Her name is Daniela Irashko, an Austrian dedicated to ski jumping and ski flying, which she tasted for the first time as a young girl, and she's never ceased to feel the thrill.
I think a ski jumper is not an ordinary person. To do this sport, you really need to be a special person. But everyone who's jumped once, well, I believe they just can't walk away from it. And they'll say to themselves their whole life through, yes, it was right to do it.
Daniela Irashko has reached the peak of her sport. She became world champion in Oslo in 2011. She's won World Cups and 45 victories in the Continental Cup. But making her way as a female ski jumper hasn't been easy.
Way back, the ski jumpers were all guys. I wanted to do the same, but wasn't allowed to jump. But I kept up the pressure until I was allowed to try ski jumping. And then, suddenly, everyone agreed that I could continue with the sport. So I guess I wasn't all bad, was I?
Daniela discovered her sport at the tender age of 11. At that time, female ski jumping simply didn't exist. She had to fight to be able to join the boys in training and competition. But the young Austrian was determined that one day she would get the recognition that she wanted.
Finally, I've grown into it quite easily. The sport didn't exist for women, and that was completely understandable, but I've always succeeded in everything I wanted to achieve. And I always wanted to jump as far as possible. I was always accepted by the guys as a college student, too, and as a friend.
In 2003, Daniela really made her mark. She was the first woman to fly over 200 meters during practice for a World Cup event at the Kulm. 2 years later, in 2005, she took part in her first Winter University Games at Innsbruck. The first time women would take part. It was organized as a huge event, the first Universiade, which all the media really took an interest in. And it was also the year where I'd finished school and got straight into studying. So I was able to take part, and when I won, the atmosphere was indescribable. In front of her home crowd, Irashko had to deal with the pressure. On the Seefeld Hill near Innsbruck, she was the favorite.
I can remember that I jumped badly in practice, and I'd lost my nerve.
I was so frustrated because I was so bad. I couldn't handle that hill, even though it was my own ski jump hill. And I never liked that hill at Seefeld, really, that hill. But Irashko didn't want to disappoint her local fans.
In the practice round, I was only 4th or 5th or 6th or even worse. So I thought, everybody's looking at you. It was so exciting, that first jump, and I flew so far. Even today, I don't know how I managed to do it. It'll always be a mystery for me, how I could jump so far on that hill. 98.5 meters in the first jump. Irashko's determination, combined with prodigious talent, put her in the lead. A surprise, even for her. I think I succeeded because of my frustration. It was incredible. I said to myself, you have to do it now.
And I did it. Suddenly, all my negative thoughts disappeared. It really was a risky moment. Athletes are often in this kind of situation. But to be able to achieve it is not something that happens too often. And I said to myself, you've got to take all the risks, because when you don't take risks, you simply can't win. I realized very clearly at that moment what I had to do. The student of education would compete again in 2007 at the Winter University Games in Turin, adding another gold to her collection. For Daniela, the University Games victories symbolize the highest recognition as an athlete and a student. I know what a double load means, how difficult it is to combine studying and practice sport at a high level. You don't really have time, you have to sacrifice your life. You have nothing when you're studying, and if you don't complete your studies and you're only an athlete, you still have nothing. So you have a hard life without money, and therefore the achievement of winning the Universiade title is very important. The Austrian is still recovering from a serious knee injury she picked up in a fall last January at Hinterzatten. It meant the end of her 2012-2013 season. But Irashko is still thinking positively as she looks ahead to the upcoming Winter Olympics in Sochi. The fact that I'm not actually jumping, I'm not able to do it, has allowed me to practice in a different way for several months to enable me to get back into competition as quickly as possible. With her victory in Sochi last year in the World Cup, Daniela knows she could become the first Olympic champion in the history of women's ski jumping. She's been a real pioneer, and the journey for her is not yet over. The drive is always there. I'm constantly trying to push the boundaries in women's ski jumping. Of course, sometimes it doesn't happen as quickly as I'd like, but the direction is okay. The path is the aim. I know that I won't experience everything in my career, but I know that I've done a lot for women's ski jumping, and that makes me very proud. Daniela Irashko still has a lot to give. Let's hope she's completely fit for the challenge of Sochi. After the break, the inspirational story of the beach volleyball team from the Northern Marianas Islands who took part in the Kazan Universiade this summer.
Times they hurt me, treated me wrong. Something had to give to stop this thing going on.
You touch, it tells. T-Touch 2 Diamonds. Tactile technology. TISO.
Beach volleyball provided one of the most spectacular competitions of this summer's Universiade in Kazan. 28 countries from all over the world took part. In the end, Poland won gold for the men. Russia took the women's title. But as the tournament was in full swing, we took the opportunity to meet a very special team. John Nakefis and Clay McCulloch-Stearns were not in Kazan to win a medal. Their success was simply to be there in Russia to represent their homeland, the Northern Mariana Islands. The islands lie in the Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and the Philippines. The total land area is tiny, less than 500 square kilometers, a world away from Kazan.
We took about a 4-hour flight to Korea, and then after about a 6-hour layover, we flew to Moscow, which is about 9 or 10 hours, and then from Moscow to Kazan. So overall, it's about 30 hours of traveling.
The Marianas Islands are a small island in the South Pacific. We're a U.S. Commonwealth, and the population of the island is 5,000 people. And we have one university on the island, which has about 2,000 students that go there, and several kind of smaller high schools. We were very fortunate our volleyball association was able to be in communication with FISU and FIVB, and through a series of some paperwork, we're able to get a scholarship for our country to come and participate in these games.
During the season, the Northern Marianas play only local tournaments. Their nearest opponents in the region are Japan, more than 2,000 kilometers away. So each international tournament represents a lot of money. Luckily, they've had help from FISU, the International Federation of University Sports, through its development program.
I think it's great, having a lot of these high-quality players from around the world. And my first time to be here, so it was a big experience for me.
The opportunity and experience, probably experience, is the main thing that we're going to bring back, and just to be able to tell people about it and encourage people and show them that if they work hard, they can maybe participate in an event like this.
Northern Mariana Islands!
The highlight of the games for John and Clay was not the competition, but the opening ceremony. They were the only athletes from the Northern Marianas in Kazan, and Clay was the flag bearer.
It was a great feeling just coming out, representing my country in front of thousands of people, and it's a feeling you can't explain. It's just a really great feeling, and the opening ceremony itself was just amazing. The quality of the dances and the fireworks and everything was just really, really cool.
Clay is studying at the Saipan International School, and John is at the Northern Marianas College, also in Saipan, the main island of the archipelago. They train every day after their studies. It's a partnership that has grown and changed a little.
First of all, I was his coach. Then they brought this up, and I was interested. So from there on, we just started training together, working hard, and playing as much as we can together.
Because it's a small country, we have a lot of opportunities to participate and travel different places or bring in good athletes. So just with hardworking people, taking advantage of different opportunities.
In Kazan, John and Clay faced players from the United States, from the Czech Republic and Austria. And although they lost all their games, the experience was priceless for the young Marianas players.
These teams out here, they play on the European circuit championship. They play a lot. They're much taller. They're much more experienced. So it was a challenge, but we knew that coming in. And our whole goal was to come out here and learn and have fun and enjoy an experience that not many people get to. As this team, John and Clay are very young players, and so I expect that they'll only get better from here on out, and they'll go home with some good stories to tell people, and we're in the process of growing beach volleyball and volleyball in general. So I think this is going to be something that will hopefully springboard us forward into getting beach volleyball in the Marianas a little bit more popular.
Next year in July, the Beach Volleyball World University Championships will take place at Porto in Portugal. It's a new goal for John and Clay to aim at, and a great journey to prepare for. The cities that are candidates to host the Winter and Summer University Games of 2019 have been presenting their bidding dossiers at the FISU offices in Brussels. Delegations from Krasnoyarsk in Russia, Baku in Azerbaijan, Budapest in Hungary, and Brasilia, the capital of Brazil.
Based on the information we have received in the books, that will be analyzed by our technical people, by our director of the games, and based on the first analysis, we will send a number of questions, and we will visit together with the president the different cities and try to get the answer to the questions.
The Swiss canton of Valais has decided to postpone its bid until 2021. That leaves Krasnoyarsk as the only winter candidate.
Of course, it's a competition, and the conditions are not the same for winter and for summer. For winter, there is only one, and they need to be not only the best, but better than themselves. For the Summer Universiade, there are 3 extremely good candidates, except that they compete in totally different ways. For example, you cannot compare Brazil, which already has a very heavy challenge and program, and Baku, who tries to develop university sports in the country, and Budapest, who is part of the history of university sports for so long.
The inspection of the venues in the various cities continues until October the 20th. The final decision on just who will host the 2019 University Games will be announced on November the 9th. Next month on campus, we continue the countdown to the Trentino Universiade. We'll look at all the sports and all the venues for the games that take place between December the 11th and the 21st. And that was Campus. I'm Richard Vaughan. Until next time.